Yo, welcome back. Part 2 in the last video. Well, hopefully the last video. I'm not even gonna say last video because in the first video I said this would all be one video and it turned into 2 videos. So I'll just say the next video of the Cuda suspension. And of course we ran into issues. Not too big of issues, I don't think, but I won't know until I do a little bit more work. So let's get started where the main issue is. So these coilovers are adjusted as far down as they'll go on the shock. So you loosen the nut, the coil spring extends, and that actually makes the car go lower. Well, this is maxed out and there's way too much gap for my liking. So basically what it comes down to is, well, that, and not only that, there's like no travel. Like, it is stiffer than an 18-year-old on Viagra. So we got to take care of that. These are, so it's an 11-inch shock. So bear with me because suspension, geometry, all that's shock travel, shock length, coil travel, coil length, spring rate, blah, blah. I don't know nothing about none of that. I just build the cars and I drive them. Obviously, I'm just now updating this 52-year-old suspension. So I'm learning, we're learning. So they had 11-inch shocks with a 9-inch tall, long spring with a 450-pound spring rate. QA1 said that would work, but obviously nobody knows. I mean, it's hard to tell unless you actually know the weight of the car on the front end. And so you're basically just kind of really just guessing. And that's what we did. We guessed and we guessed wrong. So that's all right. So I got some new springs and they somehow got here today, even though I ordered them yesterday from Summit. So these were 85 bucks a piece. Why don't they say QA1 on them? They're QA1. Why don't they say QA1? Oh, that's all I get. So these are 350-pound spring rate. So we're dropping 100-pound spring rate in hopes that, well, these are 8-inch. Those springs are 9-inch. So we're dropping an inch length on the spring so that I don't have to compress that spring just to get the collar on the top. Whoa, I almost dropped it. On the top, like you saw me do with my headgear on. Protection first, safety first. Safety first here at Chris Classic Garage. But we are going to throw these on. I'm going to pull the shocks off, throw these on. And then I have got to put the sway bar bushing. So I actually had to order these for a 69 Camaro because a 69 Camaro is like the closest you get to any parts, really, like things like these that fit close enough. Because if not, I got to special order them from some special website because it's Mopar. And of course you can't just get on Amazon or go to O'Reilly's or whatnot and just get stuff that bolts right in because Mopar is difficult. So I got these. I'm gonna have to modify them slightly. They're just a little too wide for the brackets that they bolt to, but I'll show you that when I get to it. I got the bushings for the sway bar. I believe it's like 5/8, 3/4 inch bush. I think it's a 3/4 inch. So you might be thinking, well, why didn't you, since you did all that suspension work, why didn't you upgrade the sway bar? It's just a daily driver. That sway bar surprisingly worked very well for how old it is and how worn out the entire suspension was. And it's a solid sway bar. A lot of the aftermarket sway bars are hollow, which I don't know if that's better or worse, but I like the solid one better personally, just because I've been driving with it and doing it, and it's been perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it aside from it being as old as your mom. But spring, sway bar, mount, and then I got to adjust the wheel. So you can see this side is sitting inward that way. Great. And my power steering is leaking trillion times worse than it was before I put the car up for 2 months. So probably gonna fix that somehow. I really don't want. I'd love to go manual steering and manual brakes, but being Mopar, I already know it's not gonna be that simple. But I gotta adjust the wheels, which that's where I might run into issues. So these wheels need to come. The top needs to go in towards the car on both of them, and I'm worried that there's just an issue, and I'll have to show you when I get there. Once I get all this up and off the ground and I get the wheels off, I'll show you. But let me get to that, turn on my AC, and start working. All right, let me show you what might be a big issue, but I might be able to get around. So the knuckle right here, if I adjust these to where the top starts pulling it this way, like it needs to have the wheel straight, or to have the wheel flat, not pointed out like this at the top, that knuckle is hitting the coil spring. But this comes with another bolt, or another hole, which would angle the coil spring in this way. But this piece of the frame right here, you see it right here? All this right here. Let's see, lighten it up. No, not lighten it up. But that piece right there is in the way. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is just cut that bottom piece off, or cut this off, put the shock this one more hole this way, and that should keep it from touching. I don't know if that's gonna be enough, because I feel like it still would touch here. This would move farther that way, but I feel like this bottom part wouldn't move too much. But I don't know unless I try. But I think those springs are skinnier because it's a lower weight. So what do you think? It looks the same on video. In person, yeah, it's a skinnier spring. Might get away with it. Might spend a good chunk of time just doing some more mocking up, because I need to. I don't even know what that's doing. I think I need to go this way. It's about to start hitting. Let's see. And the wheel is still, you can kind of see it's still, this is pointed this way. I need it to come out this way. But at the same time, I know I need to adjust this thing, but I'm not sure 100% how to. So I'm gonna pull these off, put this on, put it back in, and just see what it looks like. Okay, got minor updates just a couple minutes later. So I decided, I used my not acoustic side of my brain. And I said, well, before we pull this all out, let's move it to that upper bolt hole. It's not gonna focus, I give up. Let's move it to that upper bolt hole and see how much room it gives me at the knuckle right here. And sure enough, it gave me all the room I needed. So I already did it on the driver's side, but I can adjust this all the way this way. Oh, let's go this way. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's on it. So. Come on, come on. Just the wheel basically what I'm saying is I got plenty of room to make this go straight. I already did it on the other side. So right now I'm not worried about making it straight. I want to see now if moving that, so moving it up that to that hole is going to extend the shock a little bit. So I wonder if it'll compress more once I put the weight of the car back on the ground. And then I might have some compression. Oh, that's what I meant to show you guys. So there was an issue where the nuts right here, when I had this turned in pushed towards the car like it needed to be, so the wheel sat flat. These nuts, got him. Anyways, these nuts were touching the coil spring too, and I think that was keeping this side of the car from compressing because the coil spring was obviously hitting. Oh, dang it. Oh, we're good right there too. Okay. I literally just remembered about that, but that's not touching, so we should be good. So let's put it back on the ground and see what it does. All right, let's see if I'll be able to send those back and not have to do a whole lot as much work as I thought I was gonna have to do. Great Pyrenees barking literally everything. And she's still barking. Oh, that looks promising. Oh yeah, we did come down some. So the tread is completely worn out on these. So I got those truck tires to replace these truck tires. Now let's see if we, oh my God, yep, nope. Still stiffer than that 18-year-old on Viagra. Oh my gosh, yeah, those bad boys are stiff. But I wonder if driving it will fix that. I don't think so. This is just a light car. So you got to think the engine by itself is what, 700-ish pounds, 700 pounds. It's iron block, but everything else is aluminum and plastic. I'd say the front end weighs, I don't know, 900,000 pounds by itself, because these cars are flimsy. They're small. I'm obviously missing a good amount of metal in places, so that's even lighter. So, oh, how's this wheel look? Is it straighter? Oh yeah, that's way flatter on the ground now. Now I just gotta adjust the tie rods. This one, I didn't adjust this one too much. Oh yeah, that's way flatter too. It might still be kind of sitting on this side too much, but I don't know, that's pretty flat. That looks pretty good to me. Also, I'm gonna eyeball my alignment and everything. That's the whole reason I got those SPC upper control arms, because they make doing it yourself a trillion times easier. I know there's a bunch of different ways that they show you to do your own alignment at home, but I'm just like, oh yeah, it looks good. Oh yeah, it looks good, and drive on. But let me, I don't know. I kind of don't want to waste the time tightening everything up. That's just, yeah, no, it ain't gonna work. Those springs are just way too stiff. That's like not even budging. That's rock hard. So, all right, back to what I plan on doing. I'm gonna pull those out, swap springs, see if we get some bounce. And so those shocks, they have the settings. I only have it 8 clicks up from 0. So that's super soft. You get 21 clicks all the way to 21 is super stiff, 18-year-old Viagra stiff, and then 0 is just bounce house bouncy. So I got them on 8, so there should be plenty of movement with me pressing down on it, but those springs are too stiff. So let's pull those off and put those bad boys on. Appreciate it. Good. All right, I got in bolted top bolt hole, and we've got a smidgen of room right there, right there. It looks like it's there we go. Now you can see the space, and my power steering just keeps leaking away. I assume that's next. These strut rods are going to be interesting to adjust because the hole is too small for this nut. So we'll see how that goes. I have them somewhat aligned. You can see that's pretty straight. So I don't have it tight, but I just got it adjusted. That one's leaning towards that way a little bit, but let's see what it does with the weight on the ground. I have the coilovers pre-adjusted on the nuts. It's always best to go higher than you think because it's a lot easier to lower the car with all the weight on it. It's a lot harder to push the car up than it is to let it fall down. So I put this wheel on and then lower it down, or lower the jack, and see how she sits and see if it has any cushion. All right, let's see. I don't even know if I have those coilover setups matched on each side. Oh, that's low. I can already tell. Oh, that is about perfecto. So the way I do it is I want the top of the tire about even with the lip. So, but I might have to raise it because those coils will probably settle. But let's see if I have any. Nice and stiff. Perfect. Oh, snapped it. Look at that. That's about, this side's just a hair higher than the other side. Huh. I'm going to leave those alone. Yeah, so, yeah, this side's a little lower. I need to, so really, I need to just kind of back it in and out of the driveway and kind of let it settle. let's do that right now. Well, I also have to replace that whole line now because that leaks, because when it sat in here for 2 months in the nice hot and dry, well, not dry because of humidity, but hot, all the gas evaporated out of the line and it dried out that line. So I got to replace that. But that bad boy lasted 2.5 years, so I'm not mad at it. I already got some. The PTFE line that I use, I'm just going to use that. That power steering is really worrying me. That's leaking way more than it was before I parked it. And I know what it is. It's the gasket on the bottom side of the power steering pump that the idle arm, is it the idler arm? The pitman arm, that the pitman arm bolts to. But yeah, let me raise this up a tad. I'm gonna raise both sides up just a smidget so it sits a little higher, so that when the springs compress and full acoustic. Come on, Anthony. Settle, when springs settle. There we go, good job. It'll lower back down to where it is. But yeah, I'm gonna do that, move it in and out and see what it does. All right, got it on the ground, but obviously that's a little, you probably can't tell, but it definitely, this part of the tire is sitting mostly on the ground or flush. Kind of see, it's crooked, basically, is what I'm saying. It's rubbing all on the inside right there, so the top needs to come out way more. See right there, that's even worse. But I think I got the height adjusted pretty well. So I'm gonna leave it right there, see how they settle. I still need to raise it up more. If I remember, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, if you spin the nut counterclockwise, that raises the car, and clockwise lowers the car. I'm probably gonna fact check myself and be wrong, but I'm just going off the top of my head. It's hot. At least I got a garage door open though. But next, I'm gonna do the bushings for the sway bar. I need to tighten the sway bar. And then I had the investor come out and we bled the front brakes. I hadn't done that since I put the brakes back on. And I'm gonna adjust the caster camber way more, and then maybe test drive it. We'll see. We'll see what goes down in this video. See, that's ridiculous. That's horrible. That's probably next, is replacing seals on the power steering pump, because I am definitely not replacing that power steering pump while the engine is in the car. But anyways, I'll see y'all a little bit later. All right, so this is definitely gonna be the end of the video. It's already gonna be pushing 30 minutes, and I gotta order more parts now. So first, I thought these would work. Whoa, really dark, really dark. I thought not the insulator, but the actual bracket I thought would work for the factory style Mopar sway bar, but they're completely different because, well, so here they look the same, but this, the actual isolator, is different as far as how it mounts to the bracket. So it goes like that. That's how it sits, the sway bar like that, and then the bracket up like that. Well, obviously, oh, now you want to stay stuck in there. Obviously, that don't work. And then you'd think, oh, no, I had it the wrong way. That don't work. Well, it works on that one because it's the original one. But the other one is way wider. So that works because of how squished in it is, but not going to work because the new one, of course, isn't all squished and rotted like that. So that's something I'm gonna have to not special order, but I'm gonna have to order that specifically from Classic Industries because that's the only place I could find. And that's gonna take probably about 3 days to get here. So I also adjusted the tie rods. This tire is pretty on point. So I like to gauge it with the back tire, but that's probably it right there. That's really straight. It might go in that way a tad, but I really don't want to mess with it because what you got to do is adjust it, drive it, adjust it, drive it, adjust it, drive it to actually get it dialed in, or take it to a shop and let them do their computer stuff. But I'll get it plenty good here to be driven. And since I have new upper and lower control arms, I don't have to worry about it just going funky like it did on the old suspension, because the ball joints are so worn out, it didn't matter how you adjusted it. The ball joints were no good, so it just messed up. This one seems about on too. I thought this one was actually too far in, but when I look at it, it's about there. But I also raised the coil springs quite a bit more, so let's see if it sits higher. Oh yeah, it definitely does. Everything's just, oh yeah, it definitely sits higher. Yeah, there we go. So this will give me that leveling room, or I might go higher so that when the coil springs do settle, this is where it sits, because that's a good little gap. Let's see the other side. Should be about the same. Yeah, this side's probably just a tad bit lower. The coil spring on this side could probably go I'd say half a turn, and it'd be the level of the other side. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to having to deal with that. I'm just gonna put a bunch of stop leak in the power steering, see if that works. It won't, but I'd like to assume it does. Oh, I also adjusted the caster camber. This wheel is definitely still sitting. It's sitting too far on this edge now. This one, what the? Who turned the steering wheel? It's all crooked now. What in the Casper? But this wheel needs to come slightly that way on the top. Needs to just a tad bit, and it'll be just about level, even on the ground. That's so weird. Why did I just do that? Oh, let's see if I travel. Nope, nice and stiff. All right. I have no interest in going into. I gotta go to 250-pound springs? No, we'll just see when I drive it. But all right, sorry that this is turning into so many different parts. I thought I was gonna make it all one video, but I have other stuff coming for the Cuda that I gotta throw in here. I gotta change the fuel line. Gotta wait on these sway bar bushing brackets. I'm sure there's something else I gotta wait on. Still okay, still bright enough. But appreciate you watching. I need you gotta go subscribe to my backup channel, Krusty Classics Garage Dose 2. Don't really know when I'm gonna post there. Trying to make it until I can apply to get remonetized. July 22nd. Mark your calendars. And I need the Camaro to sell, because when the Camaro sells, I can start on the Monte Carlo. But nobody wants a LS swap 79 Camaro, I guess. Anyways, working on shirts this week. So, dang, that tire just, oh no, it's flat. Sorry. Working on shirts, got a good idea of what I'm gonna do, but I'll see you part 3, which should be sometime this week. But in the meantime, go build something.